Okay, so in this video I'm going to throw another technique at you, and this is called a constructor. And basically, what if when I create I'm looking at the pizza class that we talked about in the last video, and what if when I create that moment when I create a pizza object in memory, P1 and P2 say, in the past, couple of examples, there was always this moment where I was in main and I created pizza P1, pizza P2, okay? And at that moment I have this empty object, kind of a garbage object, and then I turn around and I change the pizza data, change the pizza facts. And you can use a constructor to kind of bypass that and streamline the process and create an object in memory that is fully populated, locked and loaded, so to speak, and you're really kind of hitting the ground running with a nice, shiny new object that is fully populated with data, and you can like do it all in one shot, as opposed to creating an empty object first and then turning around and filling it with data. So that's what we're doing here. So I've added a constructor to my program. Okay, a constructor, and first of all, everything is the same here. We have the private data members with the name, the diameter, and so on. And then we have the public member functions, the same ones, the overloaded mutator functions that we saw in the last video. All of that is the same, but now I've added a constructor. And again, the point of a constructor, it's a member function. It's a very special member function that has a special job to do. And its job is to create an object in memory with fully populated data immediately. Okay, not after the fact. You're never going to have an empty moment where you have this empty object that needs to be filled. And so that's the purpose of a constructor, is to kind of hit the ground running with a fully populated object in memory. And here's how you can spot a constructor a mile away. First of all, it is a member function, but it has no return type. Do you notice, like, this is just kind of a regular run-of-the-mill member function, and it has a return type. It's void, but it still has a return type. All these have a return type of void. The constructor does not have a return type. So you dive right into the name, and the name is always, 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 without fail, going to be exactly the same as the class itself. Okay? Pizza with a capital P in this case. So this is my constructor, and they can be overloaded. I haven't done that in this program, but they can be. And so I have this parameterized constructor, which will accept a string for the name, an int for the diameter, and a float for the price. And basically I'm just using, once those items come through the door here, I'm using them to populate the data members, the private data members, which would be inaccessible to us otherwise. But so there's your constructor. And so now let's go down to main. When I'm creating an object, the syntax is slightly different than in the last program here. I'm creating P1, and from the get-go I'm providing the name and the diameter and the price. Same thing with P2. I'm providing those values at the moment that object is being created in memory. Okay, and so what happens is these items, these arguments, are passed up to the constructor. Oh, no, up to the constructor here. And they come through the door, and they're used to initialize those private data members in memory as the object is being created. So it's just a more efficient way of doing things. It's by far the more common way of doing object-oriented programming, as opposed to what we looked at in the previous two videos. So that's your constructor.